Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. Oh my gosh, people, have some hair, right? Have some hair. It is insane. I had no idea. I mean, it's not a brag, it's just a fact. The amount of hair that I have generated by eating vegan and raw, plant-based is just astounding, okay? Like people will actually say, oh, well, you're so lucky because and I have to laugh. You're so lucky because you were born with thick hair. Yeah, that is so not true. I am telling you, as a child, I could put all of my hair, like a teen, into one little handful at best. And now I've got 3 times that easily. This hair is just, it's real hair. Like hair I only heard about or dreamt about or whatever. And it's really funny because by the end of the day, it just grows and grows. I have to like calm down, tame it. And it's actually quite a bit longer than it appears. But vegan hair, man, I've heard of it, but now I'm experiencing it radically. And the hair's the limit. I mean, the sky's the limit. Anyway, just incredible. If for nothing else, if you want your hair back, because like I said, I used to literally have bald spots that I was so embarrassed. I just wanted to cry or die. And I was close to doing both. But praise God, and I'd lie about it. Oh, I accidentally burned my hair coloring it, or, well, I don't know what happened. Now I don't have to hide. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to do anything. I've just got hair for days. And I highly recommend it, seriously. All right, but I want to talk about the icon on this video, which reads, diets don't work because feelings don't disappear with a food plan, okay? So, so often people will say, I'll feel better when, well, as soon as I lose some weight, everything's going to be better. I just lost 8 pounds. I know, blank, blank, blank. Well, I was fine before I got heavy, so if I just lose the weight. Oh, God, and even with this election, it's been an interesting one, and my gosh, it's still hanging in the balance. But even with this election, people have said, well, I just gained weight, because of fill in the blank, because of the election, because of the COVID, because of the, there's so many reasons, right? So many reasons. And a sense that if they just find the right diet, I'm in another support group. And in that support group in particular, there is no diet recommended. They just recommend that you actually get in touch with your feelings, that you get in touch with the spiritual, the emotional, and that in doing that and getting at the source of what was causing you to act out. Because even if you read the description of my video, my Jules Blessed Vegan channel, I absolutely indicated that I recognized that food was secondary. Food is just a symptom of the problem, which is why I talk about so many other topics, because people will say, you barely talk about food on there, Jules, it's spiritual this, it's Jules that, my hotness, of course. I mean, come on, I can't leave out my hotness. And then, of course, yes, food, my struggle. But honestly, yeah, choosing food as your crutch, choosing food as the vehicle, a supposed wellness, food is just a symptom of whatever that problem is. So diets don't work because the feelings do not disappear just because there's a food plan. And man, do I know that, and was recently made acutely aware of that once again when I faltered these last couple weeks, if not a couple months, to be honest. And I just started feeling desperate and getting into that whole diet mindset, How can I manipulate my food? How can I manipulate the intermittent fasting hours? How can I manipulate, the fat content, I started working it as a diet instead of a lifestyle, right? And I know for many people being vegan is strictly for the animals. They become vegan for the animals. And then of course they choose that lifestyle. And for me, though I'm Christian and though I adore animals and everybody knows it, and of course I've literally rescued hundreds over my lifetime, it wasn't for the animals. It was because I was dying of kidney disease and knew I needed a lifestyle change. Over time, like, because initially, seriously, a couple years ago when I was just changing up my diet, I only did the best that I knew how. Like, I literally had understood that Greek yogurt was better than regular yogurt, so I switched. And I learned that goat cheese was better than cow cheese, so I switched. And, just a bunch of stuff like that, where I was just trying to change my lifestyle as best I could so that I wouldn't be dying and find myself on dialysis. So really, that's where it started. It wasn't until I watched What the Health and don't tell me What the Health was such a big one. That was such an eye-opener for me. And oh God, what is it, you guys? They're the two most popular ones. What the Health and Forks Over Knives. Thank you. And Forks Over Knives, that I suddenly recognized how terribly animals were being treated, how horrifically they were living for their brief little lives. I was literally saying things like, biblically, we're allowed to eat animals, but we should at least let them have some quality up until we murder and eat them. I remember one guy schooled me and he was like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Ease their life right up until you kill and eat them. And I was like, wait, what? But by grace, I've managed to get off of animal products and abstain from eating them. I've always treated them amazingly and been known as a bit of an animal whisperer. So I'm grateful for that. But anyway, what I learned, I remember when I first got into the 12-step program, and I was kind of tripping out because they didn't just hand me a diet. And I was so used to diets. I mean, from everything. Oh my gosh, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, on and on. I can't even think of them all. The Great Britain Egg Diet, all of them, my gosh. Anyway, when I got into Overeaters Anonymous, I expected them to hand me a diet. And they kept saying, you'll find your way. You'll find what works for you. Stay off your trigger foods. They definitely recommended getting off of white flour, white sugar, all the whites. They definitely recommended that, but they didn't hand me a diet, and it flipped me out. I was just like, wait, you're just supposed to tell me how to fix it, And they were like, it's not about the food. It's never been about the food. It's about your, spiritual, mental, and emotional, and how you act out using food. And that was just so amazing. So when I was really into Overeaters Anonymous, I finally got to the point where I absolutely realized I was never going to diet again, and started to see the word die in the word diet. And it was just die with a T on the end, and that T on the end might as well have been a cross, because it was taking me down such a terrible road. And I played and ran the whole gamut, from starvation to bulimia to, of course, mastering compulsive overeating and gluttony and binge eating, and, just walking around the size of a house, So I totally understand that. You may have your food plan, and that's great. You totally need a plan, there's no doubt. But if you're not addressing the symptoms of the reason that you've been eating in the way that you have, you're probably going to relapse, and with the expectation that inevitably you will slide back or relapse. It's really just having a net in place that doesn't allow you to smack all the way to the ground, right? I mean, ideally, when you're doing a tightrope and you fall into a net, it absolutely grabs you, pulls you down, and hopefully spares you just before you hit the floor, right? And ideally, that's what the plan is. The plan will not protect you per se from yourself, in terms of the emotional and all the reasons you ate to begin with, but it most likely will support and hold you up enough until you get your balance back and you can go again. So I do absolutely appreciate a food plan. I don't know if they should have worded it that way, but I definitely appreciate a food plan. I just need to know that unless I'm addressing the whole person, the food plan in itself will not be enough. You know, it's like having a stool with 4 legs, and when one of those breaks, the other 3 do a pretty good job, as long as you don't lean to that one corner, right? It's kind of that same thing. So diets don't work because feelings don't disappear with the food plan. And most likely, the eating is just a symptom. And unless you address the reason, you're going to find yourself there many times. And by you, I mean me. I'm just, generalizing. All right, my friends, just wanted to process that with you and share my vegan hair, which is just for days. Oh my gosh, right? Try it. You'll like it. Okay, like if you like, join us if you haven't subscribed. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you in all ways. And until we talk again, best of all, know that you are blessed.